glad you said that because that's definitely on my checklist of things to say about Baltimore when we get to them is why didn't they get another starting pitcher? I like a lot of the things they've done, but I want one more.
I agree.
So yeah, that seems like a logical landing point. Couple things more on Framber. 94 miles an hour, 94.3 average fastball velocity. No different from the year before. I like seeing that. FIP and xFIP are pretty much constant with his ERA. Swinging strike rate, about pretty constant there. K percentage down a little bit. Walk percentage a little bit up.
That's where you got to be looking. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Because 9%, he's never been there since. It hadn't been there since 2021 at 9. I round up, so 9%, 8.5.
Fair.
But 7.8, 7.1, 8.1 the last 3 years. Small margins there, but it doesn't take much for all of a sudden it to be a problem because another 1.5% and you're at double digits walk rate. And then that's where you're at a real problem there for Framber Valdez because he's also not the biggest strikeout guy. So you don't be putting a lot of that traffic on the bases there. I'll be a little nervous about that too. So, and I also don't think he's going to get a big deal. I think he's going to get a flex contract. Shouts to Joe Sheehan. One of those deals with an opt-out after every year. I think that's what this is angling toward, right? As late as it is, I don't think anyone's going to come with some big 5-6 year deal. I think it's going to be something with outs.
Yep. And Uncle Ted raises a great point. The comp pick hurts here too.
Oh, that's it. Yes,
him and with Zach Gallen especially.
Yep. I think really it's killing Gallen.
Yeah,
but it does sting Valdez as well.
Gallen too, but that's another story for another day. Gallen's the next rated guy for me. Others that are starting pitchers: Zach Littell, Chris Bassett, Lucas Giolito, Jose Quintana, your guy Justin Verlander, and Max Scherzer, who said he's going to wait until he gets the team he wants. So maybe waiting a while there on that one.
I think both of them. I think Verlander and Scherzer should pull the old school Clemens. Remember years ago with Houston? Why not? Why even push it? Take your time. Come in June. Figure out what team needs you. Keep in shape. I think that's the way to go for both those guys. With Gallen, I'm with you on all the scare. He scares the living crap out of me. I desperately want him to go to a pitching organization that we like. One of the teams. And I don't know if they're interested in a guy right now. Boston's got 100 guys, and they're one of the organizations we generally like as a fantasy community. Milwaukee, I don't think they're going to be going out for him, although that is a reclamation. That would be kind of interesting for them to do it.
I would love to see him on Milwaukee.
I want him to go to a team like that, and I will dive back in immedially on some level, at least with Zach
Although
Gallen.
I don't want to see him go to Milwaukee because he'd be up against Red.
Right. Yes. As Reds fan, you the real one, me the de facto one. That would ding. But from a fantasy perspective, Gallen going to Milwaukee would be pretty cool. I do wonder if a team like that though would be interesting because it is a buy low, right? He's had a couple rough years. He's had some health. This is not the Zach Gallen of yesteryear. I think you can get in on a discount, and I'd love to see a team take a leap. I tell you, even a team, I don't think they will. That's not what they're stepping out to do right now, but they apparently don't want their ace. So even a team like my Tigers signing somebody like Gallen would not bother me. But I think the six they've got plus Drew Anderson's what they're going to go with, which is fine. I like where the Tigers.
School, are they?
What?
Not really? They can't trade Skubal.
No, but the whole arbitration thing where they offered him half of what he was asking for, and it's
gonna be messy. But
I don't think you trade him at all. I think it'd be very stupid. Even if you're gonna not sign him, I don't think they should trade him.
I think it's messy, and then it gets solved at the last second before they go to a hearing.
That's because you don't want to go into a hearing. What are they even gonna say in a hearing? Yeah. You have to go in there and roast your own guy. What are you gonna say about the 2-time Cy Young? They're going to have to bring up old stuff. That's the only thing.
Music, body odor, I don't know.
His favorite movie is Grown Ups 2. He gave it a 5-star on Letterboxd, dude.
Indeed. Hitters that are remaining. Marcelo Zuna, Paul Goldschmidt, Luis Rengifo, Rhys Hoskins, Tommy Pham again, Miguel Andujar, and Nathaniel Lowe. It's not pretty out there.
Bunch of old dudes, yeah.
This weekend, this kind of finished off the list of useful guys, but I mean, there's don't get me wrong. These guys could be useful that I mentioned, but they're all, non-defense, no defense,
first
all
base
players
DHs,
here,
yeah,
mostly
corner
old
outfielders.
I have a little soft spot for Andujar because he did well by the Reds.
Yes,
but,
a little bit younger than this group too.
Yeah, he's not coming back to Cincy now after this though.
No, that today officially pushed him out with Suarez. Ozuna still has a rake. He can come out of nowhere. Goldie I could see, but first base, corner DH, corner outfield DH types. I can't even figure out a spot for all of them. I don't know where all these guys are even going to necessarily go until maybe injuries start creeping in during spring training, and then they can backfill that way. Otherwise, where are you putting all these guys even?
Yeah, I just listened to Eric Halterman and Ryan Bloomfield today. They recorded on Thursday on the Castellanos list of fantasy players who are no longer fantasy viable because they're not good baseball players.
Exactly.
You can't do it. This remaining list is littered with guys like that. Ozuna is exactly the king of that type of thing. Can't play a lick in the outfield.
No, I love that classification. Yeah, he's pure DH. The only benefit for Ozuna is obviously that the whole league can now get him with universal DH, which I know has been there for a long time. But like, that's his only saving grace because he deserves. They don't even buy him a glove. When Ozuna shows up in his locker, it's just a bunch of bats, batting gloves, and tape. There is no sign of a glove. And, Goldie's obviously getting up there. I don't think Hoskins should really be on the field much. Nope. Nathaniel Lowe is whatever at first. Renjifo's the only, infielder, and he's not that good. Right. Defensively, I don't believe.
Right. Too many injuries in his past there, too. Let's start jumping into the teams here because we're 23 minutes in. We haven't started new faces, new places, a whole lot there. I mean, tangentially we have. Let's hit the AL West first. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They're doing angel things again.
They are.
I'm intrigued with Josh Lowe. I'm intrigued with Grayson Rodriguez, who they traded for Taylor Ward. But take a look at their depth chart. Actually, don't. But if you do,
unfortunately,
red mark next to the rotation, red mark next to the bullpen there in terms of the top relievers. All their top pitchers are coming off of some sort of injury, some more serious than others, but the pitching is tough.
This pitching is brutal for the Angels. Yeah, that is really the tough part. Because I agree. I think there are some intriguing things on offense. I like the Josh Lowe pickup. He's a good player, and from a fantasy point, I think he won't get yanked around as much as he would in Tampa Bay, where they're kind of manipulating things. I think it's a little bit of a set it and forget it in LA, at least against righties. So you can kind of get those 500 plate appearances, and you don't even really want to play against lefties anyway, so that's fine. But even Grayson, it's an interesting bet, but he's hurt, and like you said, he joins a team of already injured guys, including Alec Manoah, who's lingering around, and Roster Resource currently has penciled in as the 5th spot, which is interesting. I forever love Reed Detmers, but he's their number 3, Jeff. I'm betting on him as a reclamation, and they got him mid-rotation. So it's bleak. They got some decent hitters. Zach Neto's a stud. I'll still take a shot on Trout. I think he's cheap enough to do that. Joe Adell, Josh Lowe are righty-lefty versions of each other. But it's still pretty bleak for the Angels.
I'll tell you a guy that starting pitcher I might be interested in is Jose Soriano.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can concur with that.
That's the one starting pitcher. Oh, and Grayson. I think Grayson's got some juice there. We'll see, but you got to see it. You can't project him for more than 100 innings. That's the part of the problem with Grayson. But
I think Grayson's one of these guys I don't want to draft in the winter. I need the spring info. I need more spring info. I know that will probably raise the price if it's good info. That's a risk I'm willing to take. And I have certain guys like that where it's I know darn well that if Shane McClanahan throws 2 good Grapefruit League starts, the price is going up. I'd rather pay a certain higher price than an uncertain lower price. Some guys I don't mind. Some guys I'll pay the lower uncertainty price. But with some of these pitchers like Grayson Rodriguez and Shane McClanahan and a few others, yeah, I got to wait until spring.
Defense is going to be awful on this team, too.
So bad. Are there any heavy ground ballers here between Kikuchi, Sori? I think Sori actually is. Yeah. Detmers, Grayson, and Manoah. So, yeah, if you get any hard ground ballers on that team, and 65% for Jose Soriano.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But he's used to that already. I mean,
that's true.
Is Neto, and he's fine.
Yep.
But Moncada at third base or Vaughn Grissom, depending on who gets playing down there.
Any juice left for him? I did put a little note on him because I was making some notes on the guys I picked up.
Could be.
I got a little interest in him. Yeah, I'll draft him in the DC.
Yeah. They did hire Mike Maddox to be their pitching coach. Speaking of any juice left, does he have any juice left?
I like that enough. He used to be really good. I don't know if you lose it. Obviously, I think you can if the game's passing you by with the technology and what they're using to develop. I don't know where he is on that curve, but I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust a Maddox brother. He wasn't as good of a player as his brother, but I think he's just as smart about pitching as his brother, Greg. And so, I will trust him there. Now, you can only mold this clay into so much. You know, he can't turn it into perfection. But again, you mentioned Soriano, who I do like, and then Detmers and a healthy Grayson. I think they at least have 3 guys that I'll at least give a second look to in my drafts.
All right. Final question on the Angels, and we'll move on. Who is the closer this year? Who gets the most saves? Kirby Yates, Robert Stevenson, Ben Joyce, Jordan Romano, Sir not appearing in this film yet.
I mean, that's the real answer, sir, not appearing in this film yet, but I'm going to go for Bob Steve. Robert Stevenson, who they went out and signed after his big year in 2023, never signed relievers. That's always stupid. And he immediately blew up on them. 10 innings. He did get 10 innings last year, though, and looked a lot like himself. 24% K rate was pretty low from the 38 in 2023, but that might have been a little extreme. Although 21% swinging strike rate, only 7% walks. It was only 10 innings from Stevenson, but he looked like himself when he came back. Health is a major component with him, folks. I know that doesn't need to be said, but I'll reiterate it anyway. But I will go with Robert Stevenson. He's the one I'm drafting as their closer right now.